Welcome to the One Berry Lane podcast. I'm Principal Matt Jones. This is episode 4, a special episode, and we have in office today and social distancing in office with our wonderful superintendent of Logansport Community School Corporation, Mrs. Michele Starkey. Welcome.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. I'm glad that we were able to be here and do this to make sure we get some great information out to all of Berry Nation and everybody in LCSC.
Well, this wasn't what I had envisioned when we started the One Berry Lane podcast on having you come in to talk with us about the schools and giving us an update. This wasn't kind of the update that I was originally thinking of when we started the podcast.
No, right. Yeah. Like it'd be great, as we're thinking about topics to update everybody on about the great things that we are currently doing and the future of what the future looks like for Logansport schools and some of the things that we're going to be doing. But unfortunately, oftentimes as goes life, we don't have full control over things that happen. And we find ourselves in this unfortunate situation right now where we can't have our kids at school.
Yeah. The corona virus, the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of everyone's pretty much quarantining at home. And yesterday, the governor, at the recording of this yesterday, that the governor had announced in coordination with the superintendent of instruction, Dr. McCormick, that schools are closed until the end of the school year now, moved up from originally that May 1st date now to the end of the school year. So that means we're going to have to finish the school year on e-learning. And so we're kind of, as we are starting e-learning next Tuesday, April 7th, and e-learning will be going forward on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at least until May 1st.
Correct. And I think we all, we watch and listen to the governor every single day. And I think he, kind of told us on Tuesday that to be, make sure we're listening on within 48 hours, which was yesterday, because he'd have some education updates. And I think, as we had our virtual administrative team meeting Wednesday, I think we all saw it coming, but yet it was a whole nother thing to think it's coming, but then to hear them actually say that we will not be back in our school buildings for the remainder of the 1920 school year. And the realization sets in, and it's you just had to sit there for a little bit and just think about that. And it's, very sad. And there are tears from administrators, I know for multiple reasons, and I know everybody first and foremost thinks about our seniors and how devastating it is. The senior year is the culmination of 13 years of schooling and different opportunities and experiences that students have had. And you think about all the final things that happened during that year. And this is, as we know, the busiest time of year for all of those things. And it's very surreal and very sad. And then I think about, our kids who want to be at school with their teachers. They miss their teachers. I helped pass out food on Tuesday, and I was over at Columbia Elementary School, and they had so many teachers volunteering too to help, along with cafeteria staff and custodians. And the kids were in the cars, and they were just waving and yelling their teachers' names, and they were so happy to see them, the big fat smiles on their faces, and the teachers were happy to see them too. So there's just so many things to to be sorry for right now. But at the same time, we want to make sure everybody understands that, while things are changing so very rapidly still, that we continue to work and will continue to work to figure out things in order to make the best opportunities for not only our students especially, but for our staff and the community of Logansport as a whole. And so I think that's one of the I'm always looking for a silver lining, and I think that's the silver lining in all of this is it helps us to all stop and really think about where we're at, and to make sure we're not taking things for granted, and to really look at the good in people, because we've seen a whole lot of good, and we'll see a whole lot more of people just reaching out, trying to help. And as always, our team is working very hard to try to figure out what's in the best interest of our kiddos, and what we need to do to make the best possible situation we can during this time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been so much uh, helping all around in the community, and coming together. And as the governor, in this together, no doubt. And we're really, we feel, I mean, just bad for all the students, and in particular that class of 2020. And I saw when the governor spoke yesterday, I noticed he had an IHSAA
Mm-hmm.
coat on, and I could kind of see where that was headed with them, knowing that they would have to cancel the spring sports season. So, yeah, class of 2020, and I know there's a lot of school events, functions that happen during, some that were, in April, then also into May, with different types of programs and award ceremonies and scholarship nights. And we haven't made a determination on all that, on how we can possibly salvage some of those things, maybe virtually. And then also with having to cancel prom, there's just no way around it in with the end of the school year. And then we're not even sure into summer on what the total makeup is going to be on being able to get out and about. But the one thing that we're really want to try to figure out would be our commencement ceremony for the class of 2020, and try to see what we can do there as we look at options with that. And we'll have more information coming out on that, because we know that that's such a important culminating activity for students in K-12.
Definitely. And I think, what, as you and I have talked, that's the number one priority for that class of 2020. It chokes me up, sorry. But, and you think about, from a parent's perspective, that's a big deal. And it's a big deal to kids. And we will, work together to make sure that we can come up with something to honor our kids and to provide that opportunity for them as best we possibly can. And I think it's, I said it earlier in the call out that we did, and then I say it all the time with our folks here, that we just need to continue to use common sense and to continue to think about doing what's in the best interest of our students. And that's what we will do. The hard part is for people who really don't know me very well, sometimes I'm not very patient at trying to figure things out. And that I've had to, kind of like, okay, like we need to sit down and just really think about everything very thoroughly. Not that I don't think about things thoroughly, but sometimes it's like we want things to happen faster than we can make them happen, and that's not possible right now. And so, Dr. McCormick said it yesterday. We need to make sure that we continue to have parents and community members in partnership with us during this whole time. And I think we've had that, and I think this community that speaks volumes about what Logansport community is. Everybody comes together, whether we all agree with one another or not. When times are tough and we need to be together, we're together to do what's right. And I would just ask for that continued partnership, if you will, and the opportunity for everybody to give us a little bit of time to try and figure things out, and just know that we're working on it, because we really do want to do what's right for our kids and make the best of this of the situation possible.
Well, and there was a lot of information that was put out yesterday, in particular with the seniors, and flexibility given to the seniors. So there's an executive order out there with Dr. McCormick and the State Board of Education. So all principals around the states and superintendents are reviewing that document to make sure we are interpreting everything the way we think we are. So we'll have definitely much more information next week, as we do another follow-up podcast on more guidance towards that. But just as of now, all students will begin e-learning on Tuesday April 7th. So make sure students are checking your email, you're checking your Schoology accounts. Be prepared to begin e-learning. Seniors, everyone, beginning on Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's critical because as I sat there and watched the governor yesterday talk and Superintendent McCormick, I think a lot of times people think like when the first information came out that he was closing schools for until May 1st, I think people thought like within 60 seconds, I got a phone call. And I think people thought we knew ahead of time, and we don't know ahead of time. When those news conferences happen, that's when we find out that information too. And so there was a lot of information that came out yesterday. And as fast as I'm trying to make notes, I couldn't get it all down, let alone comprehend it all. And so, further guidance will come from the Department of Education to us via a superintendent's mail, which should be coming out this afternoon. And then the most important piece will be the weekly meeting that Dr. McCormick holds every Tuesday at 10 a.m., which we all virtually attend. And so I would look for that meeting Tuesday morning to be quite lengthy, as she will go through each one of those things that she talked about yesterday and give more information that will help provide the guidance for us that we will need. And so once we have that information, then we'll be able to, have a better understanding of everything that's expected, the opportunities for us, and then make plans here locally, how that impacts our students and staff. And I will have to say, in a time where political, I don't even know. It's not pretty, I guess, politically, and people they fight, and they're not really nice to each other publicly. I will have to say I am so thankful that we have a governor and the superintendent of public instruction who have been able to put their political differences aside and truly work as a team to do what's in the best interest of the state of Indiana and our students here. I have been very, very thankful for what they have done and the guidance they have provided for us. And I think it's absolutely second to none from what you hear happening in other places. And so I think we're very fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah, the leadership down in Indianapolis and working together has been most impressive and greatly appreciated at the school community level.
Yeah, actually, and I actually sat down and wrote each of them. Actually wrote a thank you note. I didn't email it. I actually sat down, wrote them each a handwritten thank you note, and dropped it in the good old mail. Now I don't know if they'll ever see him or whatever, but I just think that that's important. I have that top right drawer where I get actual notes or cards in the mail from people, and I keep them there. And those are good things to have around, because sometimes when things aren't going so well, you reach in there and think, okay, somebody at one point thought I was doing something good. So it's just
Well, and
important.
those they've had to make tough decisions in the best interest of health and safety of students and communities and parents and society, and those aren't easy decisions. And I know there's a lot of meetings and deep thinking that goes into those decisions before they do that. So hats off to the leadership.
Well, and that's true. And in no college preparation class do you have how to prepare for a pandemic as far as from school leadership goes, or I'm sure, nobody really knows what's coming or how we deal with this. There's no guide, as if you will, as to what to do. And I think so that's where it's been very important for everybody to, as I say, it's use common sense, and we have to be flexible and just try to do the right thing. Are we going to make every decision 100% perfect? No, we're not, but we're going to do our darndest to make sure we're doing what's right for our kids and community.
Yeah.
And that's where, too, as we kick off e-learning on Tuesday the 7th for everybody, K through 12, I think it's important that we help people understand, as we talked about in our administrative team meeting this week, that, what we're doing, it is not online learning It's not online school. It's not virtual school. It's not homeschooling. We are providing the best educational opportunities that we can provide right now under these circumstances. And I know there's some angst out there with parents that, they're still working all day, and they have kids who are going to be responsible for for e-learning. Please know that we understand that, and that we don't this whole thing is a burden and a stressor to everybody. And the last thing we want to do is make school a burden and another stressor on everybody. And so, if we will continue to make sure that we're providing opportunities for our kids, but please just maintain that partnership with us. We don't want to add even more stress or a bigger burden to families, and so we just have to work together on this, and you utilize the teachers that you have to reach back out to. Teachers are always people who want to be fixers and want to help. And so if there are questions or concerns about the schoolwork, don't hesitate to, email, or we do have all of our schools staffed. We're doing, a limited schedule, and people are trading off going into work so that we don't have everybody in there together. And so schools will be manned during the normal school hours. And if you can't reach out via email or something like that prior, there's voicemail. You can always leave a message for staff also. And also, we also are trying to get a grasp on who has internet access and who doesn't. Our teachers and administrators are doing a great job at collecting that information. We understand that not everybody has it. And so we are actually be meeting Monday morning to talk about, well, what do we do for those kiddos? And we don't really know how many we have that don't have it right now. We have a good idea, probably grades 7 through 12, grades K through 6. Well, we didn't have such a good idea. And so working on what those packets will look like, how those get disseminated, how they get brought back to be graded, all of those things are things we are still working on. Along those same lines, we will be opening up Tuesday our guest Wi-Fi on our campuses, and those lots will be marked with signs, red signs that say this lot has Wi-Fi access, and that will be from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. We will also be asking, most of that time, we will have people in the building, and our grounds crews, on a limited basis too, will be monitoring those. We ask that in that situation, we're not asking you to congregate in a parking lot. We're just trying to provide every service possible that we can for our kids to have access. And if you are bringing your child there, you have to be inside the car. You can't be just sitting out in the parking lot doing e-learning or on Wi-Fi. You have to be in a car, accessing that. I also know that Ivy Tech is offering the same thing at their campus. And so everybody's just trying to work together. We even thought that, in this time when telehealth is becoming more important, and many people have to reach out via that way for medical reasons. Some people may not have Wi-Fi at home where they can't do their telehealth. And so hopefully maybe one of our parking lots could be an option for them to go get Wi-Fi and be able to connect with a provider of some sort. So we are literally trying to think of every single thing that we can to provide support to our community and our families. Like we've last 2 weeks ago, actually, we shared every single thermometer that we have in our schools right now. We shared with Tyson to help them out with their team members as they take temperatures of their folks prior to coming into work. We have collected all the masks and latex gloves, gowns that we have, those types of things from our schools and from our career center, from the nursing programs, donated those to Logansport Memorial Hospital and our local EMS providers. So just trying to be a good steward and be a good big brother, if you will, in our community.
Yeah. Coming together in this together.
Is exactly right.
Absolutely. So like with the e-learning and some laptop repairs, we know that, we are a 1-to-1 district, so every student should have a laptop. So if students do have issues with their laptops as they head into e-learning, in working with our technology department? What are some of those options for the students?
Thank goodness for Kyle, because he wrote it all or typed it all out for me, so I won't get it mixed up. So starting on Monday, April 6th, from 9 to noon, students or people can drop off laptops that need repaired. The drop-off is to be at the school that your child attends, but we will allow C6 students to drop off at C6 or LJHS, which is the junior high school. And LJHS students can also drop off at either LJHS or C6 because we know, proximity. If you have to walk to take it there, that might be more helpful to you. Pickup will be on Wednesdays from 10 to noon. So you will pick your laptop up at the school. The laptop repair is for hardware issues or damage only. So for cracks, cracked screens, if they won't turn on, a keyboard, trackpad doesn't work, it's not for an issue getting to a website or you can't get logged in. There won't be any tech staff at the drop-off. So students should submit an e-learning help desk ticket form before dropping off their computers. And the form will be filled out on a computer, phone, or tablet. And it is located on all of our LCSC websites, along with other e-learning information under the Explore menu at the top of the website. And then you just look for e-learning. So the information is there. And, all of this information can be found on our website. And if we've got it on our corporation website and then push it out to all the school websites. We've been tried to be very diligent, Bailey has, about getting all of the information we can possibly get out there. When you do drop those off at the building, we will only allow one person into the building at the time of pickup or drop off. And if you pull up and there's a car in front of you dropping off a tablet, please remain in your car until that person comes out and gets in their car. We want to make sure that we continue to practice social distancing. We want to keep our staff safe also. Once you come into the building, there will be tables set up directly inside the front doors of each building. Where the laptops will be dropped off, along with a form to fill out to identify whose laptop it is. So you'll fill out that form and then stick it inside the laptop. The laptops will be sanitized when they're dropped off and then again when they are ready for pickup. We also know that the laptop protection plan can still be purchased for $10 or through next Friday, April 10th. This is to help cover hardware damages, and it is $10 for elementary and $40 for grades 6 through 12. And information about the protection plan and the form to fill out is available under the e-learning menu again on our LCSC websites. And this is not insurance and does not cover a lost or stolen laptop or intentional damage. So we're, like I said, we're trying to pull out everything and think about everything and still provide that service to people without creating an extra burden. And if you have a question and you either email or call in, that'll be a good thing to do.
Well, no doubt our websites are a great resource, as we always try to keep those current with the most recent information. So make sure to check out the websites.
Exactly. And the elementary laptop chargers, we did distribution yesterday from 10 to noon and then from 4 to 6 last night. It went very well. I'm kind of anxious to see where everybody ended up. And we had to do that because, we don't normally send home laptops with kindergarten through 5th grade students. But we made sure we got those sent home there that last day on the 13th of March, sent home. And then we now have the charger situation, which I think is going very well. I know some people already have chargers at home that will work and didn't have to pick one up. So that's a good thing. We will be reaching out to those parents of students who did not pick up a charger just to see if they still need them or arrange how we can get them a charger. So that's something we'll be working on prior to next week or prior to hopefully e-learning. Monday morning, we're meeting on that. Chargers will need to be turned in with the laptops at the end of the year. And don't worry about that yet. We're not even there. We just want to get things rolling and start to get information out. And then we'll worry about laptop collection later. But if a student has lost their charger, you can purchase one at the administration building for $30 or order one online. So for grades K through 8, any 45-watt USB C charger will work. And for grades 9 through 12, it requires a special Lenovo charger. So the best thing for high school students is to come to the ad building to purchase a new charger. This is for all students, even with a protection plan, because the protection plan does not cover the cost of the charger.
Food service will still be providing food pickup. What information about that?
Yeah, so food service will still be providing meals. We've got those mapped out through the end of April, and so those dates are. So starting, we're going to move those from Mondays to Tuesdays. So starting on Tuesday, April 7th, they will still be from 10 to noon. So it's April 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. And then we will put the new schedule out, prior to the end of April for the remainder of the month of May. What we ask is this past Monday, actually, we did we gave out over 10,000 meals, which is amazing and phenomenal. And we also had the 5,000 pounds of chicken that Tyson donated, which was great. We asked that when people come that, if you have a trunk that opens, we ask that you pop the trunk. So we're placing it in there so that to cut down on the amount of interaction we actually have with people. Or we will set them on the hood of your car and you can get them off that way. But we found that really kind of slows things down. The whole thing about putting them in the trunk, whatever was really kind of sped things up and was safe for everybody.
Anything else you want to talk about, Mrs. Starkey?
I also just wanted to say that, for the first time, we're going to be rolling out with Zoom. And gosh, I wish I had stock in Zoom, right? Because I'm sure their stock has had to gone through the roof.
Right. I mean, it's something that a lot of you see Zoom everywhere. It's a great interface. It's very stable and it works.
It does work and it's very easy to use. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's free, which is amazing. So, some information though for parents, because I think maybe some parents might be a little apprehensive about, okay, my kid is like getting online and somebody can see them and that kind of thing. Our technology department has worked diligently over the last week and a half, actually, to make sure that we are as locked down and as safe as possible. And so Kyle shared with me some information to share about Zoom. And I'm telling you what, it has been great. And I know some high school teachers have Zoomed with students already and that kind of thing. It's all recorded. So for us, everything is recorded. So we have a record of everything. So, which is a good thing, protection thing. So teachers will be utilizing the video conferencing system called Zoom for e-learning to create that virtual classroom. Parents need to know that it's only to be used for classroom support and instruction only. So each Zoom meeting is recorded, and parents have the option not to have their child participate fully or partially, such as not turning on the video camera. So they could still hear you, they just don't have to see you. And it's really easy. It comes across the bottom, and actually it comes up that way. You have to enable it, I believe. It's also good as we think about a space for students to be able to do their schoolwork. Set up a quiet area in your house that could just be quiet for the time it's going to take for students to do their schoolwork. But that's important to maybe have a designated area. Also, for the Zoom, it'll be important so that there's not a lot of background noise. And this is something that we want to make sure too that if people can see, like, if you do turn on your video, we want to make sure everybody's properly dressed. Like we shouldn't be in our pajamas or, those kinds of things. Hopefully that's understood. But, we want to make sure we share everything we can. Meetings are password protected and teachers have control of who enters a meeting as well as they can remove anyone at any time. So let's say Mr. Jones's class is coming up. And so he has control of who gets into his meeting and he only allows his students into that meeting. Students do need to be aware that the student handbook still applies to students while doing e-learning and online activities at home. So websites and tools like Zoom are tracked and recorded just like at school. And we've also, coming to FERPA and HIPAA and all of those types of guidelines, we are in compliance and utilizing this technology. So, the great thing about Zoom is it allows for some interaction. It allows for teachers to, ask questions, let students respond. I saw the other night, I know Mr. and Mrs. Cahalan had a online I assume the students were zooming in, and they sang a song, and there were like, I don't know, 12, 15 different kids. And so they put on there, it was the children's choir. And then they said next will be the swing choir. So who knows? Maybe that's going to be one of their assignments coming up. I don't know. But those are just some great uplifting things. Teachers reading books to their students. I know we've had elementary teachers who've mailed books to their students. So they're going to be reading together, just doing some interacting
ways
kind of
to
things.
get creative during these times.
It is. And I think it's going to be a way for our teachers to be able to like see their kids and kind of check on them. They're used to seeing them every day. And this is hard on them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just fortunate and very thankful that we have such a dedicated team that, has worked very hard to make sure all of this can happen. And like I said, we are just trying to provide the best possible educational opportunities during these trying and difficult times.
Yeah, making the best out of a tough situation.
That's exactly right.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I would just like to say to everybody, we once again thank you for your support. We have our LCSC team as a whole, everybody. We've got bus drivers who volunteered to like drop food bags off on front porches and drop off laptop chargers and those kinds of things. We've got custodians doing all kinds of different things, when they're coming into work, and just staff. Nobody really cares like, well, that's not my job normally. It doesn't matter. We're just all digging in and doing what's best and working together, because as the governor says, we're in this together. And I think that's critical. I'd also want a huge shout out to the community as a whole for their support. The amount of donations we've gotten for Felix's pantry, especially the monetary donations and food too, it is huge. And we're trying to utilize our local businesses to create those menus. And we're going to start doing some meal kits, if you will, so that the food's not already prepared. So you don't have to take it home and eat it right then, but you can pick up the meal kit and be able to cook it at your convenience. So just trying to provide that support for our families. I know our school counselors are reaching out to the students they work with. And I would also say to parents, if you have the need, reach out to your child's school counselor and, share with them if you have a need. If, maybe somebody just needs to talk to your child about being scared about this or whatever it may be. These are trying times, and we want to just provide all those supports that we would normally be providing at school. It just looks a little bit different in how we're delivering those. And, last but not least, I would just say everybody use common sense, continue to be flexible, and be safe.
Yeah, everybody needs to help flatten the curve and, stay home, self-quarantine. And then also if you have to go out to get food, go to the doctor, whatever, to the pharmacy, make sure to use that social distancing. That's how it's critical in getting through this and to help flatten it. Remain flexible, be patient. There's going to be more information to come, especially after we get more clarification from the state on some of those guidelines on graduation, in particular for our seniors. So be on the lookout for more information next week on that. Barry's, no doubt we miss you very much, class of 2020. You're extra, more, in our hearts right now, thinking of you. And again, we'll try to see what we can do to get creative as we finish this school year. Thank you to Mrs. Starkey for coming in today and being on the podcast, providing us a lot of wonderful information. And also thank you for your leadership during this extra trying time. Everybody out there, we are in this together. Make sure to stay safe and stay healthy, and we will see you next week with another podcast update.